Alright guys, how you doing? It's Rabea. I hope you're all well. So I hope you enjoyed that track. That is a track called Invasion. And the reason I made that track was because, of course, it is promoting the brand new Get Good Drums library, Invasion, which is a metal-orientated brand new drum library to use in Kontakt. And they got in touch and sent it over, and I was really excited to try it because I know that, of course, with Nolly engineering everything, it's just going to be fantastic, and this is nothing short of that. What we're looking at really is a really extensive drum kit. It's a Yamaha recording custom, and there's two different tunings to use, bunch of snares, and a ridiculous amount of cymbals. Loads of little chimes and effect cymbals and things like that, which are really useful for textures and things. In a metal style, of course, they're quite a dramatic sound you can use to really flare up the fills, but also, particularly in the kind of music that I like to write and the stuff we do with Tosca, it's also very useful having those kind of chimes if I'm demoing something and there's a specific part I'd want to make to show Ben. So yeah, basically I played in the drums on my electric kit, which is just over there somewhere, and I mapped everything out using actually a tutorial by Joe Hamilton, who, if you don't know, works for GGD. He's done some incredibly useful tutorials on how to map it to Logic, how to route it so you can mix everything in individual tracks, and also how to map it to a kit. One of the other cool features about GGD is that they've also included triggers, which are quite in metal, quite a useful tool, and something that you'd consider maybe there's a bit of a taboo around it. There's a little bit of like, why would you use triggers when if you record really well, then it doesn't really matter, you shouldn't have to use them. But I disagree. I think particularly when it comes to trying to get a consistent sound, and in metal it's all about consistency in the hits and the sound, that's a very useful tool to be able to blend in. And generally speaking, I found it really easy to use the Invasion library, routing everything to my DAW, which is Logic, and then just having control over everything. And I can even sum, all my snares to my snare channel, or all my kicks to a kick channel, including triggers, and then I mash everything together. I also used GGD's smash and grab compressor on all the drums, which I find incredibly useful, and it's really straightforward and easy to use, and it makes the drums sound incredible. On top of my Universal Audio plugins, and I also use a FabFilter Pro Q3 for generally EQ all over the kit and guitars and things like that. So that's how I went about recording the drums. Again, Invasion, it's a brand new library from Get Good Drums. I'll put a link in the description box. I recommend you check it out. It's way more expansive than anything they've done before, and it's really awesome. And it's not just for metal. I very much plan on using this alongside Modern and Massive to go about doing my drum demos, and generally speaking, use it a lot. I find GGD probably my favorite drum sample library that I've ever used, and I'm really happy to have these libraries at hand. But I also wanted to talk about the guitars and how I recorded the guitars. So firstly, I used the Super Kraken from Victory Amps with no pedals in front, just straight up gain 1 and 2 using the preamp focus boost to give me that kind of tight metal sound. Any reverb and delay you heard was done using the Strymon Volante, but the coolest part of this is that it's the first time I've written a song using a 7-string. So I've got my Chapman ML Pro 7, which hopefully some of you know that I got recently, but I did fit it with a brand new pickup, which is this pickup here. I'll do a close-up. It's a Seymour Duncan Wes Hauck's signature Jupiter pickup from the custom shop. Now, I'm sure you know who Wes is. He's the guitarist from Faceless and Alluvial, which he did with Keith Merrow. He's an absolute machine guitar player, incredible technique, and just generally writes some absolutely savage music. And he got in touch and said, I'd really like you to try out this pickup. As some of you may know, I'm a bare knuckle artist. I have been for a couple of years, but I've used bare knuckle since 2007, and I just love bare knuckle pickups. But I did think it'd be cool to try out this because it's like a hot rails pickup in the sense that the pole pieces are rails, which is different to what I usually use. And according to Wes, it sweetens up the top end, the high mid, makes it a little bit easy to use in terms of a mix, and it's a sweeter tone overall. And generally speaking, having never used a 7-string on recording, but then fitting it with this pickup and then trying it out, I felt that I could just get the kind of tones I was after using guitars where it's just really, you know, chuggy and aggressive, and also using the lead in the way that, you know, I want it to be smooth and articulate at the same time. Generally, I didn't struggle at all with getting a good guitar tone. For the bass, I used Dave's signature fan fret, as you can see there, and I also used the Microtube's 900 V2. And basically used pre and post DI, smashed the pre-DI, super compressed it. It's like a clean DI to use underneath the sort of main sound with the cab sim built in. And I used the Nolly Mega Meld cab sim. It was all just really good and easy to mix, and I felt really like, you know, for the first time, straightforward. You know, I finally got this system here down here where I can just get all my presets set up. I've got all I know how to use it all. And even trying a brand new drum library like this, where I figured, you know, it's going to sound very different to Modern and Massive, which I've been using for quite a few months. It didn't take very long to try and find the tones that I was happy with. I used the Ludwig Black Beauty snare. The room is quite different sounding to Modern and Massive. It's definitely a little bit more aggressive. So it took a little bit of tweaking to try and work that out. Not in a bad way, of course, just in the sense that, you know, you want to make sure that you get that kind of room ambience that you want for your tracks. Overall, really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed making this track. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you to GGD for sending me the Invasion library. Thanks to Wes for sending this Jupiter 7 pickup. And thank you all for watching. I'll put links in the description box below. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all very soon.